Okay, welcome in, folks. I'm Hanish Bolk. I'm joined by Rocio on my team. Wanted to have at least one attendee in this presentation on SB9, Senate Bill 9, which was just passed January of 2022 in California to explain how lot splits work. I've been presenting on this a few times, and I wanted to make a webinar so I could pass this out to more people. So with that, let's get right into it. I gotta share my screen. And okay, here we go. See the screen?
I do.
Okay, great. Okay, so here's what we're talking about. I'm the CEO of CalHomeCo Construction. We're a construction company here in San Diego, servicing San Diego, building ADUs and houses and doing large remodels. And so this will become relevant for some percentage of the population. So here's what we'll cover. Talk a little bit about what I've been up to, why we have SB9, the qualifications for a property that applies for SB9, the rough costs, how to split the lot, and then just kind of, we'll go into questions or contact info. So I've been in the business since 2002. I've done a lot of mortgage and real estate transaction. I've managed a lot of construction, flipped a lot of homes, and I don't have 3+ kids. I just have 3 kids. I don't have any plus on there. So just those 3 cute things that you see there, those are my kids. Okay, so the SB9 is called the HOME Act, and that stands for Housing Opportunity and More Efficiency Act. So you can see the problem in California is we've got very expensive homes, our rents are through the roof, and everything seems to be going up by 5, 10, 20% a year. It's unsustainable. So government is trying to figure out ways for us to increase supply, which should slow down demand, which should decrease prices as well. So ADUs were the first thing that they passed several years ago and have been passing laws to encourage people to build ADUs, which you've heard me talk about several times. With SB9, it's the ability to split your lot. And there's been some surveys and studies done. You can see this one by the Turner Center. It says that about 28,000 lots in San Diego for single family residence parcels would qualify under this. It's a small percentage of overall, but you have to keep in mind, we have to exclude places where newer homes have been built in the middle of a lot, right? You see a lot of places in North County or in Chula Vista or any newer development where you've got a 4,000 or 5,000 square foot lot with a 2,000 to 4,000 square foot house right in the middle of it. There's really nothing to split. Does that make sense, Rocio?
Yes.
Right. But when you look at houses like in Claremont or in Pacific Beach or in Normal Heights that are older houses, maybe they're only 800 to 1,500 square feet, but they're on a 5,000, 6,000 square foot lot. Well, now those are the ones that could be split, especially if they're not right in the middle of the lot. And I'll get to why that's the case. In the city itself, you can see that it's about 7,000 or so units or parcels that you can increase. Fortunately, it's a very small percentage of all the eligible lots. So this isn't applied for everyone. So before you get excited about splitting your lot and selling part of it off, it only applies for very few people, unlike ADUs, which literally apply for 99% of people that own land. You can build an ADU. But for this lot split, it's a little bit more complicated. This is the first iteration of this, so we'll see how this goes. Obviously, other ways that the governments are trying to increase density is by upzoning, right? You know what upzoning means, Rocio?
No, can you tell me what it is?
Okay, so upzoning is basically when you take a property that says, okay, this is a single family home zoned area, that's all you can do. But then they can upzone those, especially in transit areas where new laws like SB10 now allow up to 10 units in the same lot as a single family home. And you see this in other areas where they're upzoning properties to mixed use or commercial as well. They're trying to pack in more density, not just for residential, but also for mixed use and commercial and retail and things like that. Okay. Let's see if I can get this quote on here. The best way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. Good quote by Disney. And he did a lot, right? So here's lots that qualify, right? It can't be a rural property. So if you have a property way out in Fallbrook or East County or way out in the mountain area, you can't split that. It's not meant for that. It's meant for urban infill. It's also not meant for historical properties or landmark districts. So Mission Hills, lots of historical properties. You can't split those lots. They want you to preserve the character. of those lots in the original intention because they've got some value in being in that way. Can't be in a fire hazard area. So if it's heavy brush or if the insurance or the county designates it as a heavy fire hazard, that's not possible. And this interesting property on the steep hillside right here looks great, looks cool. That can't be easy to develop. You're not allowed to split those lots off. You can't give someone a piece of the side of a hill and say, okay, good luck building something here. That's not working. So basically any area where housing can't be built, SB9 does not apply. Make sense?
Okay, clearly that house was built.
This house was built, but it was not built using SB9.
Gotcha.
Right. It's just saying, we're excluding this because we don't want people to split lots and then find out that, yeah, doing the site work for this property costs $300,000 alone. And you got to get people with shovels out there instead of, you can't get a tractor back here, right? You're not putting a bulldozer on the side of this hill. It's going to roll down the hill.
Can you, instead of using SB9, you could build an ADU?
Correct. Yeah. But the key thing with SB9 is that you're able to split the lot, get separate APNs, give one to your kids, your family, or sell it off. Right. And that's how it's increasing housing, because you're allowing another person to become a homeowner or a landowner, more specifically. And you can't be an investor. This is intended for owner occupied properties. You have to sign an affidavit that says that you are going to reside in one of the properties for the next 3 years.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know how enforcement's going to be, but that's the rule. Okay. So more criteria. So you're allowed to split your lot, preferably as close to 50-50 as possible, but a max of 60-40. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you have a 6,000 square foot lot, probably pretty common, you could do 40% of 6,000, that's 2,400, and then have the remaining lot be 3,600, right? That's the numbers there. And then the minimum is 1,200 square feet. So if you did a 40-60 on a 1,200, that means you could have a 1,800 square foot main lot, and a 1,200 square foot secondary unit. That'd be 3,000 square feet. Same with if you did 50-50, it'd be two 1,500 square foot lots, right? But it'd have to be ideal, right? If you had a lot that was shaped like this huge lot right here, the front house would have to be on just one section of the lot. And ideally you'd have the entire back section available. So you can have an easement back there and have access to a back property, and you could sell this lot out. It's called a flag lot because it looks like a flag, right? And that's just one option of how we would do it. Other option is you might not need an easement if you have an alley in the back. Then you don't need an easement because they can access the property from the alley, right? No parking required in most areas. If it's in a transit-rich area, which most of San Diego is considered in a transit-rich area, you actually don't even need parking to split the lots and build extra units. And on your extra unit, you can build a house and an ADU. So the max is going to be 4 units on the original lot. So if you had an original lot, the max is 4 units. If you split it, now the max is 2 units per property. So a house and an ADU on each lot.
Okay.
And you can't rent it out short term. It's meant for long-term residents that live here. So 30-day minimum rentals. You're not supposed to demo affordable or tenant housing either. So if someone's living there, you can't demo it. If someone's lived there in the last 3 years, you can't demo it. It's been a vacant property. Okay, maybe you can demo it now. Okay, so 2 units max per lot, as we discussed. There's more. This isn't just as easy as, sending to the city, I want to split my lot. This is a kind of an expensive, long process. They're making it easier and faster, and we'll get to that as well. So you need to have separate utilities. You're making a separate lot with a separate APN. They need to have separate utilities. They can't share your sewer line, right? I found this graphic online. I thought it was a good representation of what this looks like, because you have a sewer line, which is what takes out all the stuff that flushes down your toilet or from your drains. And then you have the stormwater line, which is all the runoff water, right? From your roof, from your gutters, from just runoff on the street. That's where it goes into stormwater. The stuff in the sewer line goes to a sanitation plant, gets chopped up, and eventually out to the ocean. My wife didn't know that. I had to explain that to her the other day, that sewage gets pumped out about 2 miles into the ocean. There's separate tubes that go out, and the fish love it. So you need to have separate utilities, and not just sewer. You have to have water, electric, gas, internet, anything else, phone lines. All of those need to be separate utilities, as if you're developing a brand new separate property, right? You need to have an easement, which means you have to have access to that back property, either with a driveway if they need parking. If they don't need parking, you could just have a 4-foot sidewalk easement, so someone could walk by your property and get to the back property. Okay, have to have plans and a survey done by a surveyor. That's usually a licensed position, costs money. Civil engineer needs to stamp the plans. that you can get done for your electrical and plumbing plans for your new utilities. If you're in the coastal commission area, which is a lot of areas west of the 5 highway, close to the ocean, you have to get coastal commission approval. And you don't need CEQA, which is the California Environmental Quality Act. So you don't need to have special studies that say how your lot split is going to affect the environment. So that'll save you a lot of effort there. Okay. So how much does this cost? And I couldn't put down timelines because the few people that I know that have submitted plans still haven't gotten them approved. But this law, as of this recording, just passed last month. So they've been submitted. And there's at least one firm I know that's got at least 4 of these submitted. They haven't heard a chirp back from the city yet to do this. But design, budget at least 7,000 to 10,000, right? Surveyor, someone's got to go out and measure things, and they have those little yellow tripods with the lenses. They're charging $3,000 at least. Civil, which is the plumbing, electrical, and engineer, I would budget at least 3,000 or more for that, right? A lot of design firms I've talked to said if someone calls them for SB9, they just say it's going to be 20,000 minimum. But that includes the design, surveyor, and civil, right? So that includes all of those 3 steps. That's 20,000 to start. Permits are 7,000 to 10,000, and this is significantly less than what it was because you were allowed to do lot splits in the past if the city approved it. But I've heard that the permits would be like $70,000 to $80,000, so almost 1/10 as much. And part of the main reason is that this turns into a discretionary. This goes from a discretionary approval to a ministerial. Discretionary means that you have to go to public, you have to go to the public and get it approved by your community groups, and it gets in the public purview, and people could say out loud that they don't want you to approve it and bug city council and not approve it, right? With a ministerial approval, if it passes the rules, it checks all the boxes, you get approved for this, okay? And then depending on how far your property, your new lot is going to be from the utility connections, from the electric line or from the sewer line or from the water line, depending on how far you have to run it, that can be $15,000 to $30,000 or more, depending on how far it has to go and how much concrete you have to break and how much dirt you have to dig up. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So not a cheap or free process. This is going to be at least $30,000 or more to get going.
You're looking at close to 60 on the higher end.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So how to get started? So, I'd always advise people to get engaged with a construction company first, so you have rough estimates of what to build, right? Just splitting the lot, you've got some rough estimates now, but if you want to build something also, well, that costs money also. So get some rough estimates of what you plan to build there and how much that'll cost so you can budget properly. We also work to rein in the designer, because if you just start working with the designer, they're going to make the nicest, fanciest place with the nicest, fanciest materials. And when you get the bid from us after they've designed it, you might be shocked at what that price will be. But if you tell us your budget is X, we'll make sure that the designer is designing so it stays at a budget of X. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then it sets expectations. So we can tell you how long to expect to get your approval, your permits issued, and then also how long it'll take to build this. And that's based on once we start hearing back from our design firms of how long it is taking them, because this is still fairly new. We'll see how long it takes the city or the county to work out these kinks. And then you also want to engage with the design or an architecture firm so you can share your ideas. They put the plans together and then they coordinate all of the trades, including the surveyor and the engineer, and you figure the soils testing and all that kind of stuff. And with that, then we work together closely so that once it's approved, you now have plans that you can build from and go from there. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so additional considerations. You probably have a mortgage, right? So now you're turning one APN, assessor parcel number, which is how tax department gives you an ID for your property. It's not just your address, they use your APN. And then you need to get your mortgage company approval. Good news is it should increase your property value because 2 separate lots are worth more than one, even if they're smaller because it's the same size, because now they know that you've got something you can sell off. Interesting, okay. Huh? If you need to sell the lot, you're probably going to have to refinance your mortgage because now you're mortgaging only half or even 40 to 60% of your land, and that's worth less than both pieces of land together. Ideally, there's enough appreciation in your property that you'd be able to do that, and then refi your property into just a one lot and have that other lot be free and clear so you can sell it, or you do it concurrently when you sell it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you're doing it for profit, it is more profitable to sell a lot with plans than just a raw lot, because plans can take 6 months or a year to approve. And it's even more profitable to sell a lot with the home, just depending on how much time you have and what your strategy is. But building a home can take anywhere from 4 to 6 months or longer, depending on how complicated the home project is. So if you can do it, build the home, then sell it off. If you can't, you can just sell the land off, but know that getting a land loan with no property on it or no house on it is more difficult and expensive than getting a house loan. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, that's it. That's basically the basics of SB9. Any questions? Anything I missed there, Rocio?
No, I think you're pretty thorough on everything. It's just if somebody wanted to split the lot just to get a different APN number, it's going to cost them roughly to begin about $30,000 to $60,000.
Yeah, I would budget at least 30 to start. You
And
might
that's
find
just
more
to
depending
get an
on how-
APN number to get it, to try to get it approved to get the APN number.
Yeah, it's to get the APN number, but remember, you won't get that APN number. You won't get your final different APN number until your utilities are connected, right? You'll kind of get a preliminary approval from the city that says, yep, we agree in concept with this, but now you need to go trench out for those utilities and get separate utilities there, stub them out in the ground. And once that's done, great, now you've got a separate lot.
Okay. Yeah, that was just my only question.
Awesome. Hey, well, thanks for listening in. Check out the rest of the videos on our channel. We've got lots of good information about all the new laws that are coming out in San Diego, California, and how you can capitalize on them with our construction company. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.